Hey, we're live.
Here we go.
What do you got? What do you got for a cold open
No,
here?
what do I got for cold open here? Okay. No, I mean, like out of all, everything was pretty smooth sailing for this. Like the big party I went to with Teets on a Friday, was all pretty. There was they were peddling this weird energy drink, with all these mixed drinks.
What was it called? Do you remember?
Famous FAMUS, something like that. It was in a black bottle. It was very much like trying to be like the Logan Paul one.
Yeah.
It was really earthy, and it was like literally in every freaking cocktail. It was the funniest thing.
What was it like? Like on its own?
I don't know if I tried it.
I guess you wouldn't have. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I avoided trying it.
Was it a local Louisville thing or what?
No idea. It doesn't seem so. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there were guys there dressed in like sleek suits, like promoting it. Like, that was their like big slick job promoting energy drinks. And I mean, like, I find like, like all like little like, startup-y jobs like that interesting. But I feel like at the bottom of the list for me is like peddling some sort of energy drink. But I do have mad respect for the Red Bull people who drive around.
Yeah, we actually at Garage Bar last week, we had some of those folks come in and, they're like, well, do you all want a Red Bull while you're working? Hell yeah. Yeah. Why wouldn't we, So
and they're usually pretty good. And, I passed hopefully the same people on the way to Old Town. But yeah, I mean, they always have those. They always have the sugar free, which is my drink of choice. But
I've got my Ghost Energy here. That's definitely become when I lived with Lee, obviously he would get all those energy drinks. He tuned into the energy drink side. The Ghost was definitely my favorite one. So
the top one, yeah, it was. It was pretty good, but yeah. Other than that, I went the party I went to at Dean Harris's place was stellar. There's a hilarious picture. I don't know if these girls would want me using this as her episode logo, but it was like all the girls there like got together in their like derby hats, like take a picture, on the couch of them all in their like derby hats and dresses.
Yeah.
And in the background is me, and I'm like sitting in the back, just like staring at my phone, just drinking out of like a big solo cup, just with this, yeah. Maybe we can just use the clip of me from this, but yeah, it's actually a really nice, colorful picture, very soupy. But if you see here and you zoom in here,
yeah,
maybe that'll get on the episode logo.
Yeah, Tim King popped in. What up, fellas? What's up, Timmy? Let's do this shit.
Yeah,
you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. All right. Welcome to the Brain Buster Boys, episode 106. My name is Brett Jagger, along with, I think I've said this, but my friend. He's a guy. He's a boy. Yeah. He's my buddy. His name is Beaumont Rand, and he's at work. How are you?
I am, technically. Yeah, this is my family's insurance office.
Been a minute since you've recorded from there. I feel
I think we did like our 10th episode here. Always this like big wooden doors, the background, which is very, very nice and neutral. I've done like, you name like all kinds of Zoom calls from this position.
You never know who's going to walk through that door.
No. Well, actually, so the office is this way, so people will walk through this way.
What's behind you?
Well, let's take a look, shall we?
Little kitchenette.
Yeah, a little kitchenette. The bathroom, obviously, and then kind of, our water bottles and our cleaning supplies and all that.
Beautiful.
So it'd
be wild if someone really snuck up from behind you there.
Oh, 100%. That means they would make it through the emergency door that's basically been a wall for 30 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just a big shotgun building. It actually used to be part of a bowling alley, as a matter of fact. I mean, this wasn't the whole bowling alley, because if you look, it's shotgun. Here's one wall. Here's the other. So the bowling alley went from the tax store, like all the way down to like, there's a IGA or something like that down the way.
Wow. So, my mom used to be a loyal IGA shopper.
Yep. Oh yeah. So, we got us one of those, but yeah, this used to be back, when my mom was, and dad were, in high school in the 70s, a bowling alley.
Wow. So, how about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were obviously kind of talking about your Derby weekend in the cold open there. Anything else to add? I actually didn't even get to see the race since I was basically on site at Churchill Downs, and internet down there was so shitty.
Yeah, I
but
won.
Sounded like it was a good one, and yeah, you got a little good fortune out of it.
Yeah, no, out of like a house pool where I drew out the 8-horse mage that wound up winning. So yeah, I had a nice little chunk of change to spend on Saturday night, which I did. I was very generous with it. I was just sort of like, what, everybody, come on,
buy some drinks.
Yeah. So
what was the buy-in?
$10.
Okay,
I believe, and I think I did another one that was also $10. And Tyler Gill, the Louisville musician, country musician, Tyler Lance Walker Gill also won the other one. He was also the bookie or the record keeper.
Yeah.
So
that's a little fishy.
It is a little fishy, but no, I mean, I didn't do any transpires. Rich was there, so of course he was, really
like betting on the horses from, on the app.
Yeah, and I think Rich walked away at least from the evening up a little bit because I think I don't know what he won the Derby on, but he got money off of that. But yeah, there was that, and then relatively uncomplicated nights out. So shocking.
That's good. Yeah, where'd you end up going?
Big Bar.
Okay.
We went there, and we actually tried to go to some bar in St. Matthews, and there was a line all the way down the street, and I was just nope, not Yeah.
When I was at the track Thursday for Thurby, and I essentially basically won enough to keep betting. I hit one that it'd pay out $12. All right. So I think I still have a couple tickets in my pocket to cash.
Oh wow!
So I'm gonna have to I mean, they're the vouchers essentially for when you put it in and you didn't bet enough. So I think I have $12.
Oh, nice!
And you have a couple tickets
to do it, right?
Yeah, which I don't live far, but yeah. So we were kind of starting to talk. I had an interesting Derby weekend as I was employed by a limo company here in Louisville to chauffeur people, which was something I've never done before. I had to be suited up. Black suit, white shirt, black tie, looking dressed to the nines.
Oh yeah, forget about that.
And I'd have to go into the airport with a sign and stand with everyone. Did a couple of private airport pickups where you just literally pull right on up to the plane. I'm not going to say any names. I know but one was a former Green Bay Packers player, was probably the most famous person I had, and he was very cool. But yeah, it was certainly a unique experience. As I told you, on Derby day, literally I picked up this group from the private airport, took them to Churchill, and then waited there all day essentially for 6+ hours, and then got them out and right back to the airport. And they were out of town.
What did you do while you were waiting? Were you allowed to do things? Or
so essentially the company that I was working for had rented out the front yard of multiple houses right down there on Oleanda Street right there. So we were posted up there, and there's so many different limos. I was driving a van, but so many drivers were on that street in that area. So I took some walked basically up to Churchill, talked to other drivers, was able to get internet enough to just watch wrestling on my phone in the car for a little bit. But then as the day went on, the service got shittier. At one point I just put the seat back and lounged back. I think I was listening to Super J-Cast and Hear That Podcast Growling, which is the Bengals pod. So just chilling, and I'm getting paid for it. So it wasn't too bad.
Not bad. Yeah. No, that seems like a pretty sweet. So also I'm curious, did they have rules for how much you could engage with these people?
Yes.
Yeah. I kind of figured they would.
It's pretty much read the room type of deal, and spoke when spoken to. They don't want a bunch of chatterboxes. But the football player, for example, obviously I worked for the Bengals, so we had something in common. We talked the entire trip, and some of the others I drove someone from Louisville to the Cincinnati airport, which is, about a 90-minute drive. And it was mostly silent. There was a little bit of conversation here or there. So yeah, just kind of feel it out. But yes, they did kind of instruct, don't talk too much, so it was interesting. It's something, I might still do a little bit on the side here, as things kind of go along. But yeah, obviously still ultimately looking for a full-time job, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, it was a
fascinating gig, it seems like.
Exactly. Yeah, it was an interesting experience. Tips were good from that one group, and it's decent overall, but not quite as good as I was expecting, even though I didn't know what to expect. But yeah, it was worth sacrificing the partying. Like I've certainly done Derby a number of times and got to go to the track on Thursday and had a great time. So yeah, it was all good. So before we dive in here, I assume you did finish Backlash.
I did. I finished it this morning.
Okay, sweet. Well, before we dive in, you got anything else you want to address? Do we want to talk about what we heard last week here on the show?
The event stuff?
I don't know. What was that robot in the beginning? I have no fucking idea what
I don't know. It seemed like it was more glitchy than like it was singing.
Yeah, and I don't know who's like sending us the audio from that meeting. It just showed up at my doorstep one day. So,
it just seems to pop in and out like the Goldman Hour and like the other strange events on here.
So this week it's just nothing. Normal BBB here.
We don't got anything. I imagine those guys had a pretty big week after Backlash. And I assume Raw is in Puerto Rico too, wasn't it? Was it also
no? So the previous SmackDown was that Friday, which we'd been a SmackDown podcast, but I just didn't get to watch it because there was so much. But Raw last night, where were they? Or 2 nights ago, I can't remember, but I watched it. It was pretty solid.
I guess since it was on Saturday, they've had time to go back. Yeah. But I'm sure they've like a lot of traveling and stuff. And that Puerto Rican crowd was
my
amazing.
Gosh. Yeah, they were great. Well, before we get into that, let's talk about something else that's amazing, and that would be Manscaped. All right, I'm pulling it up here. Gotcha. Yes.
This looks interesting.
I used pretty much every day. I've been using the crop cleanser.
Nice,
to cleanse my crop, aka my balls.
I mean, their deodorant graces my armpit probably twice daily sometimes. Usually when I get home, if I go for a walk and stuff, I always put it on just because I know it worked.
Oh yeah,
sometimes I get a little sweaty.
Products. But let's do it. Playoffs. Are you talking about the fucking playoffs? That's right. The playoffs are here, and your friends at Manscaped are here too. And they're making sure your balls are as kissable as the Stanley Cup. That'd be nice. Yeah. Whether you're an NBA or NHL guy, you'll want to give your Nuggets, go Nugs, the best clippers to rid them of pubes and help them see the summer sun. Nuggets over Suns, baby. Don't let your Devils go wild. This is great. Use the Lawnmower 4.0 and get your boys as smooth as jazz. Too bad they didn't make the playoffs. You can have balls of kings by going to manscaped.com and using the code BBB for 20% off plus free shipping. Tell them more, buddy.
Manscaped is the champion of men's grooming. You know what they call their Staples Center product? The Performance Package 4.0. It's the Crypto Center now, but still. Because it's the best way to get your body ready for elite playoff level performance. Their full package is stacked with the best of the best. It all starts with the Lawnmower 4.0. These Lawnmower 4.0 are the greatest pube warriors. They make body hair removal as easy as a Steph Curry 3-pointer. The Lawnmower 4.0 doesn't only make you easy on the eyes, but it's easy on your skin with its skin-safe technology that reduces your playoff-less nick. That's not right. It uses their playoff nicks. They're very much in the playoffs.
And struggling.
And cuts so that your balls don't have to take the heat.
The Knicks are sure taking the heat right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, Manscaped has been working hard and brewing up the new and improved Weed Whacker 2.0 with a better shape. There's no question that the Weed Whacker 2.0 for nose and ear is the most improved player of the year. And they cap the performance package off with the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Ball Toner to keep you fresh even through the sweetest Game 7s. But that's not all. Manscaped has 2 free throw-ins. This thing is stuffed full of puns.
This is outstanding.
Yeah. A travel bag to hold all your goods and a pair of anti-chafe boxers, perfect for watching or playing sports. Plus, for all you playoff beard bros out there, Manscaped now has beard products with their Beard Hedger Pro Kit. James Harden would probably not use that.
No.
This kit at the balm. This kit has all the balm, shampoo, conditioners, and oils to keep you need. I'll hiccup it here. Hang on. I'll just let me know what time to cut this out.
I think it's great.
I'll just write it down. 15 cut. This kit has on the balm, shampoo, and oils you, Embiid, need to keep presentable and comfortable through the push, and the trimmer you need when it's finally time for a cut. Bring us home.
Good work. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BBB at manscaped.com. That's right. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code BBB at manscaped.com. Pick a winner, the Nuggets. Hit the playoff push and use Manscaped to shave that bush. Your balls will thank you.
Yeah, don't be Toronto Maple left out in the cold.
Oh, and what's up, Justin? Thanks for tuning in. We love you, baby. But yes, WWE Backlash.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get it up here. Yeah, you were starting to say it. That Puerto Rican crowd, holy shit!
Well, that was the best. That was the best part of all of it, I think.
Oh my gosh,
in my opinion, I think they were not. Yeah, hope that's not a comment on the wrestling, which was all good, But yeah, it was what's up.
Yeah, I mean, from the jump, obviously and we'll get into match by match, but like the fact that they were all on the Io Sky train, as she deserves. She's so fucking good, and this was her best match in WWE, I'd say. But it kind of like, Bianca needed to kind of shift a little bit, because she's not that she was getting booed. I mean, maybe like a little bit, but that crowd was clearly pro Io, and yeah, it was just awesome. Great stuff here.
Sure.
Yeah, anything just about the show, the crowd, anything in the presentation, anything in general before we kind of get into it here?
Yeah, it didn't have like the big like WrestleMania or classic like big huge wall of monitors entrance thing, but there was a nice simplicity to it, and the crowd was like right on everyone, and the stadium seemed, I don't know what stadium it is. Hang on, I got to pull it up.
It is Coliseo de Puerto Rico.
The Coliseo de Puerto Rico, Jose Miguel Arrelote. I don't know, the Jose Miguel Arrelote Coliseum of Puerto Rico. So it's like their big government-funded national team.
And
Coliseum.
Also, what about that drone shot to open the show?
Yeah,
where
that was
kind of like flew into the crowd. Like, that's not something I'd seen before.
No, that was really
to
cool.
Start the show. Like, and obviously running, having previously run a drone company, that was definitely right up my alley for sure. I thought that was very, very cool way to begin the show.
No, I thought that was impressive, and it just looked like a pretty neat venue. It looked like definitely a place to be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say it looked like just a great fucking time had by all there, and we'll get into the legends and everything. This was a very Puerto Rico show, and kudos to that crowd and everyone involved. There's been certainly better shows from a wrestling standpoint, but like this was just such a fun watch, I think, from start to finish. And, even like kind of some of the lesser matches didn't get a ton of time. So, it wasn't like they dragged or anything. But I started talking about it. Let's dig into possibly the match of the night. I think there were this and obviously the San Juan street fight that really stood above the rest. But Bianca Belair retains the Raw Women's Championship to set the new record. Let's see how many days. 403 days currently as we stand, defeating Io Sky in 18 minutes and 1 second. Man, I was already talking about it, but man, this was just so much fun. Io turned back the clock, just wrestling like it was 2017 in Stardom, when she was the best women's wrestler in the world. I wasn't following it back then, but I've of course gone back and watched a lot. And Bianca, we know how great she is. But man, I was just so hyped to see the crowd so in on Io. You could tell it was giving her some energy, and this was just a fucking blast.
Oh yeah, and especially to kind of flip things around on a baby face like Bianca, But yeah, I mean, like she definitely, like Bianca, I feel like always comes out and just like has like always a pretty early dominating performance. Io took like the wind out of her sails really quick, and you just kind of knew you were in for it. But yeah, I think this was, either my favorite or second favorite of the night, like one of the two. With the Damian Priest and Bad Bunny, I thought that was pretty rock solid. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I thought this was stellar.
Yeah, I went 4.5 stars on both of these. And like I said, it was just so great to see Io Sky work. As I was saying to JCB, let Io cook. Like she is so damn good. Not that she's being held down. She just hasn't really had the big opportunities on the main roster. I mean, tag champs with Dakota Kai, yes, that's something. But we've talked about how Damage Control's booking, hasn't really been the best. And this kind of ended with Bailey, kind of inadvertently costing Io. So it will be interesting to see where it goes from here. But I mean, man, there were some near falls down the stretch, some nice counters. Like this is like what you would see on at the top of the card on a Stardom show. Like this was that fucking good. Loved every second of it. Obviously, was kind of hoping that Io would give the dub. I think it could have gone either way. Even though both of these women are on SmackDown, and I don't know how they're gonna switch those belts. Like if her and Ripley just trade, I don't know. It's kind of dumb, but yeah, this fucking ruled. And let Io cook. Let's keep putting her in these high profile spots because she's that damn good.
Yeah, get her in more of these singles matches. Now, where is she going? Where's Damage Control going for the thing?
They're all on SmackDown. Bianca's on SmackDown as well. So Rhea flipped the Raw.
Okay.
Justin says Io and Bianca was awesome. The only gripe is still WWE not fixing or explaining the women's championship situation with Rhea and Bianca. Exactly what we were just saying. And I think last year or 2 years ago, they had a similar situation with Charlotte and Becky. And
what did they do?
They just threw the belt down and just traded. And it was really stupid.
Oh, they had them come out and do it on TV?
Yeah. And I guess there was some real life heat there going on. It was a mess. But yeah, Justin, couldn't agree more. And with the draft in general, we have SmackDown guys competing in this tournament for the new Raw championship. They hype up all, no team is safe. Anyone can be broken apart. And every team stayed together. They made such a big deal of drafting entire Damage Control. OC. The only one was the Bloodline where they kind of split. But the Usos still ended up on that show. They just weren't drafted with them. So
with them, yeah, obviously, that story's been going for a while. But I guess if this Damage Control kind of break up the, or tension happens, that's interesting.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying this could be just a really good, first, great women's story going for the new SmackDown roster. I feel like.
Yeah, and Bailey and Dakota Kai are challenging Raquel and Liv on Friday on SmackDown for the tag titles. I presume Raquel and Liv will retain, furthering, kind of the dissension among Damage Control. Maybe Bailey blows it again or something. It seems like it's going to be the other two, Sky and Kai, kind of turning on Bailey, I think. But because Bailey's kind of been, week after week, she's putting herself above the rest of the team, and they were getting pissed about that. So, but man, let Io cook. Kudos to Bianca for breaking the record there. I mean, what a reign she's had. She's amazing. But yeah, what a way to start the show here. I mean, this crowd was ready to go, and like I said, you could see it giving Io Sky energy. She was fucking pumped up. Like I said, it's probably the biggest match she's had on the main roster, and I think the best maybe in all of WWE she's had. I know she had a really good one against Candice LeRae at NXT, Ripley, so she's had some good shit, but yeah, awesome stuff here. And then there was backstage where we got our first Savio Vega appearance. I'm guessing, did you know anything about him? Probably not.
Nope. I just saw a guy with the afro just run out and very energetic.
Well, that was Carlito. That was Carlito who wasn't shown at all early in the show. Savio was the one. So similar. He was mid to late 90s WWF. He's awesome. He had one of the first big rivalries with Stone Cold. He was part of a group called the Los Boricuas, which was a lot of fun. So yeah, just he and Carlito are probably the two biggest Puerto Rican stars that WWE has seen. So it was very cool to have them a part of this show. But yeah, this was just it was Ray and Bad Bunny talking backstage, and Savio showed up to the big pop. And of course, we see him later on as well. So in the match that Vince McMahon wanted to have at 30 plus minutes, we heard it does get apparently 10 plus, and I think is without a doubt the best match Omos has ever had. Seth Rollins defeats Omos in 10 minutes, 31 seconds, as I just said. Was pretty solid. I mean, we / the WWE creative room have kind of been ripping on not really much, but like the booking, I wanted Omos to beat Brock and would have made this make a lot more sense. So it's not like we're shitting on Omos, the performer.
Yeah.
And this match proved like he's getting better,
He is getting better, but I also think that's credit to Seth for really just selling that in not a really stupid way, because I feel like it's very easy to sell it in a stupid way whenever he grabs you and then he like picks you up and you're like, oh,
Yeah, Seth was a perfect opponent because he can bump around and sell, and he's just so fucking good.
Well, he made it seem real as opposed to like comedic. So I think that did work out, again, a lot better for it, and it just made it so I feel like it could go a bit longer. And it just wasn't as set up as silly with those spots. It's like, just look how big he is, and look at him pick up.
It was a real match, and it got a little bit of time. I don't know if Omos has had a match that went longer than 10 minutes, even though this wasn't much longer. I mean, maybe some of the tag matches when he was with Styles, but even that, I'm curious to look into that. But credit to Omos here for sure. I think, I'm not going to say the future is bright, but I think, if he can kind of keep growing and keep getting better, like, he's going to stick around here a while, because if you're a giant and you can work a little bit, there's a place for you.
And I feel like that's like the part of this that's still kind of for kids, because I feel like kids, are like, look how big the guy, that's something that I feel like kids are, easily pretty like taken by.
Well, and remember when we were at Derby City Wrestling, same thing with the woman, what was her name? Big Mama, was just so much bigger than who was it? She was wrestling fucking I can't remember her name, but
it's
you're
obvious
right.
Thing
like
for a
the
kid.
spectacle of the thing.
Like the big versus little, and the story is just kind of inherent. It's like the classic baked in, like David Goliath, kind of things. And so like I get that that's in there, kind of for kids, but it does need to be just better and less obvious and stupid.
And this was, and again, Brock is obviously Brock and in a high spot, and Omos beating him would have been a big deal. So I get it, but I still would have wanted to see him get that big win, because I think it would have even further legitimized him. But, maybe that's coming at some point. And admittedly, I am happy that he was not in the championship tournament, because I could have easily saw them sticking him in there. This was better than I expected. Probably 3.25 stars. It was a good match.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced his ceiling is like anywhere near championship good.
No,
but I want, like, you kind of wonder. It's like, and maybe he's had a singles match with like the Gunthers or the Sheamuses of the world, like big guys who can like really go, like guys who, maybe aren't as big as him, but are kind of, WWE's, just bigger, more powerful guys, like he, still is like not even near that level. And I'm not convinced you could even get to that level where like you could, at least for me, believably be like a champion. But like this was at least a step in that direction, I will say.
Yeah. And Justin agrees, best Omos match he's had. This proves Omos can actually have good matches if he's put in there with the right people. Yes, exactly. So, we'll see where he goes from here. I mean, obviously that's 2 L's in a row against the high profile opponents. So, if they're going to keep using him and booking him strong, you got to think he's going to start getting some dubs that aren't just squash matches against, lower rung guys. So, But I'm happy to see this growth for sure, with where he's come from, especially like when he first jumped on the scene a couple of years ago.
Right.
He really was kind of the butt of our
joke,
at least.
He slapped him with AJ Styles too.
Yeah.
Which is just like, poor AJ, having to like put him over and just do dumb shit for a really long time.
Yeah. And we'll see if it's just been he and MVP. The Hurt business is obviously a thing of the past, but we'll see if they kind of, add any guys to that group and, kind of build a stable around him. But good stuff. Okay, so next we have Austin Theory defeating Big Bob, and Bronson Reed in a 6-minute 51 sprint. Definitely thought this would get a little bit more time, but shit, for what we got, I really enjoyed this. It was like a microcosm of that triple-threaded Survivor Series, which was lethal. I almost said lethal. Theory, Big Bob, and Rollins.
Correct.
That went like 13 minutes. So this was just even more abbreviated than that. Unfortunately, no Elias, no electric guitars here, as we heard Vince and Shane pawning for last week.
No
but
Boogs or Shane, I mean, how they would have gotten Shane out there, it would have been in a wheelchair or one of those Kroger auto carts or whatever.
Yeah, but like Theory retains yet again against the big giants. What'd you think?
I thought this was, very fast paced and fun. I think, this just kind of continues Theory's just exciting ascent. Bronson Reed, obviously always, very exciting, just, has that very just big presence, but also quick. And then Big Bob there right in the middle, man.
There he is.
I love the ending of this.
Yeah.
I thought the ending of this was stellar.
A classic heel stealing the pin there.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's funny how he through Big Bob too. Yeah. You don't really see Big Bob hasn't Big Bob had a match with Omos where they make him look really small on the camera?
Probably.
He totally has. Yeah, I feel like sometime on a mid-level pay-per-view. But Big Bob, he kind of just throws him out of the ring.
Yeah.
Just sort of heaves him out. I thought that was a funny sight to behold. But this was fairly short, but pretty exciting. Kind of within. Austin Theory's great.
Yeah, for sure. And Big Bronson went for the moonsault.
Yeah,
and then he was immediately speared by Big Bob. And like you said, Theory using the presence of mind to just chuck Big Bob out and get the pin, which was a little different from the Survivor Series where he countered. I think he countered a move that Big Bob did and basically just landed on him. But similar kind of thing here. It's he's gonna take the shortcut to win the matches here, which is, I'd like to see him Theory get some more decisive wins, but I get it. That's kind of what who the character is. But he's continuing to be booked very strongly. One of these times, I would like to see him get a definitive stamping win.
For sure, yeah.
But he's a heel, and that's what's going to happen. And Justin says, Austin, God damn it, awesome showing from all three in the short amount of time they got. Hopefully, they keep it with Bronson and eventually put him in there with Gunther. Holy shit, yeah, that
good
would
idea.
Be a ton of fun. Both on Raw now. You've heard me talk about Bronson Reed. He was Jonah in New Japan. He beat Okada. They were putting him over huge over there. So I was not exactly excited to see him come back to WWE. And he really, this was the biggest match he's had thus far. But you put him in there with Gunther, I am ready to roll. For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you excited for WWE United Champions on Saturday, May 27th from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, that could be, it could 1 p.m. Eastern start time.
Yeah,
that could be fun.
Well, the last one you recall, that was the Logan Paul Reigns match that we watched later that evening, but so you
not the last night at Champions, but the last one in Saudi Arabia.
Last Saudi show, I can't remember what show that was, but I know we've talked a little on here about when they first started having the Saudi shows, they were pretty terrible.
Right.
So this one, coming off one that was pretty good for the first time, this will be interesting. And it's going to crown, we'll have the new WWE World Champion, which we know Seth Rollins is in that final. I'm pulling for AJ Styles on the other side. So I don't think there's been anything else announced, but typically for Night of Champions, every title is on the line. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember if we talked about this last time, but with Sami Zayn's Syrian, heritage, he's obviously refused to go over there.
Not going to go, yeah.
But they're the World Tag Champs, so we'll see. That was one reason why I thought there was a chance the Usos would get the belts back.
Right.
I'm so glad they didn't, but something to keep an eye on here as we we're 2.5 weeks away from this show already.
Yeah.
But Okay, so up next, we have Rhea Ripley defeating Zelina Vega in 7 minutes, 11 seconds. The match here was secondary.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was all about Zelina getting her moment, and I thought
and
that was all
her story and her whole family and all that, and the Puerto Rican flag thing, and
very, very cool. Yeah, it's weird. Shane McMahon didn't know that there was a Puerto Rican flag.
Yeah, it does look sort of like an American flag, and I can see how that. Yeah, but yeah, no, with her like pants, you could see like the pennant.
Well, and then she, of course, had the whole thing sprawled out as well.
Yeah, just to hammer it home,
Yeah.
And then Rhea Ripley just had sort of like the all white, the black hair, very, very villainous look.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed what it said on the back of her trunks. It was hard to tell, like, in real time, but I saw a picture. It just said Dom Dom on her ass.
Oh, that's great.
Because there was a picture of the two of them backstage where Dominic's just like next to her with his hands like pointing to it, just with a shit-eating grin on his face. Yeah. But continue to love that burgeoning cuck relationship. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the match was short, 7 minutes, 11 seconds. Zelina did get that one big near fall towards the end, as we all, I kind of expected this would have gotten a little bit more time.
Right. And, she just kind of got in her thing, but then, Rhea Ripley just sort of was clearly too much at the end.
Yeah. But again, great moment for Zelina. I know she's come out and said, like, obviously best night of her life, things of that nature. It felt like a movie. I'm sure it did, and she's not a top of the card wrestler. Mm-hmm. So credit to WWE for giving her this match and giving her this moment. And, the match wasn't anything special, but I thought she looked pretty good there and, sunk in the crowd. And, we knew Rhea was going to win in pretty dominant fashion, but this was just a very, very cool moment for Zelina Vega, and I'm very happy for her.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, definitely, especially with that crowd, I don't know. I'm glad, the crowd was great, but it seemed to really just kind of meet her at this moment. And couldn't not be happy for her.
And like you said, her whole family there ringside. I was hoping Malachi Black would be there because they're married. So that obviously I didn't think he would be sitting there front row, but part of me was just hoping to see him with like a hood on, and you just see the whites of his
something like that. Like would he be forbidden to attend a WWE show?
Probably. I think like on camera in the front row like that, but backstage, I know all the time, like you'll have people backstage. Like I know Andrade, although who the hell knows if he's even in AEW. Like,
I forgot he even existed.
He's married to Charlotte, so he's been there. I mean, hell, even CM Punk was just at a WWE show recently, which certainly caused a lot of stir. But yeah, I doubt they would put an AEW contracted rep. They did show
on the camera.
They did show Britt Baker. When Cole was still in NXT, they did show her on camera, but they didn't say like Britt Baker AEW, obviously. Right. But she was there, and they did show her. And Justin says Zelina losing was easily predictable, but she won in the end with the moment she got at the beginning and ended the match.
Well put. More. Yep, that was
exactly what happened. Interesting to see if she kind of gets a little bit of a push, or kind of continuing to be pushed a little bit here, because obviously she's very, very little, but she can do things that some of these other women can't. She's really good with like the flying head scissors and all that. And I'd love to see her and Io go at it. Similar sizes, they're now both on the same show. At least I think Zelina's on SmackDown. I can't. Yeah, they are, because Judgment Day's on Raw and LWO, because they split Ray and Dominic. So, good point by Justin here as well. In my head, I pictured Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews together, because Buddy Matthews is with Rhea Ripley. So, very good observation there. Yeah, just imagine just the House of Black just lingering in the background.
Oh, exactly.
Watching the match. But yeah, that didn't even cross my mind about Buddy too. But fun stuff. Okay, and yes, we get to very, very fun stuff here. The San Juan street fight, in which Bad Bunny defeated Damian Priest in 25 minutes and 3 seconds. And Bad Bunny continues to prove that he is by far one of the top 3 celebrity wrestlers of all time. I think they're on a different level. And
Yeah, he looked more fit last time than I saw him.
Yeah, in some order, it's Bad Bunny, it's Logan Paul, and it's Pat McAfee in terms of celebrity wrestlers coming in. And man, this was, again, 25 minutes. Granted, probably 5 of that, they were just chilling with all the, when the Judgment Day came out, and then Carlito and Savio, as we talked about. We didn't even see the ring for probably like 3 or 4 minutes there. But for Bad Bunny to go out there, get fucking Falcon Arrow through a table like in the first half of the match. And then launch a fucking brutal assault on the leg of Damian Priest, looking like Bret Hart out there.
Like kendo stick, yeah.
Priest selling was fucking through. Like, it was very realistic selling. Like, when he was in the corner and he was just beating his leg against the post, like, just like, God damn, like just yelling and just like I felt his pain, like, so I really, really just want to give both guys credit. I thought this was an incredible moment, a great match. The Bad Bunny entrance, the crowd singing his song. Like, I'm getting goosebumps. I don't even like his music really.
And the crowd felt so much closer to like the action, what was going on. There were people like hanging over the rails, and they were not far. There was like not a lot of room. Usually with these other ones, there's always a lot of space where the wrestlers can like be in the middle and be, 3 yards away from whomever. But no, like it was like right up on him. And
it was a fucking concert when he came out. Like, that crowd was bumping, singing. I mean, I've never heard a crowd sing a song so loud, and that includes Judas, even whatever, the Rollins. Like, this was bumping. And Justin just killing it here in the comments. He said, Bad Bunny and Damian Priest wasn't a match. It was an experience, and an incredible one at that. Induct Bad Bunny in the Hall of Fame immediately. I mean, it sounds like, they may use him again late. Like, rumors are coming out that he's going to have another big match at some point. Because the guy, you could tell he loves the business.
Oh, he loves it. He's been on TV a lot, right? Been on Raw, like not all the time, but like a good bit.
Well, he had that match at WrestleMania. What was it, last year? And then he did the Rumble earlier this year. And then, in the build-up to this, he'd been on Raw and SmackDown, a number of times. The guy gets it. The guy cares. He's clearly put the work in. He's an entertainer at heart, He's a performer. Man, this is just excellent. And so let's talk Carlito. Let's talk Savio Vega. So, you obviously didn't know who either of those guys are.
No idea.
Carlito came back in the Rumble, I think like 2021. Hadn't been seen in WWE since probably like 2010, 11, I think is when he left. And he was looking jacked and big. But then, like, everyone was calling for him to sign him, and then he hadn't been seen again until this night. And unlike Savio, where we talked about earlier, they had the backstage segment with he and Bad Bunny. Carlito was kept in the dark, and that was a fucking huge pop. So, the judge, Finn and Dominic had come out initially, which was obviously going to happen. And then shortly thereafter, Carlito, and he takes them both out, does the apple, spits it in Dominic's face. That was obviously his trademark, as you could imagine. Great moment. And then badass Savio Vega comes down and just standing there. And I remember, like, Finn had a moment where he turned and saw him that was really funny, and just great feel-good stuff here.
Great. And, like, it was, like, a nice little pause from the match. And I'm glad how, like, all that kind of happened and it got out of the way. It didn't kind of interfere with just kind of the main match, which was, just super compelling. It just kind of happened, and then it went away. I like how it was sort of separated.
For sure, they still had probably 5+ minutes after that they kept going. But you're right. Like, it did obviously pull you away from the action, but it didn't take away. In fact, probably added for me, just because the crowd was, imagine being there and being Puerto Rican and how great that must have been. Like, I know some people kind of saying this was, overbooked and too much distraction, but I was here for it. And,
No, yeah. I mean, I thought it was pretty compelling the whole time, just kind of spot after spot. And then, Priest kind of like, there was definitely kind of like, much like, I guess, less physically in Omos, in like his matches, like, but like, Priest is a big dude and Bad Bunny just kind of had that sort of scrappy underdog feel. So like when he got those sort of really big spots, it was exhilarating.
Yeah, and I mean, locking him in the figure four, after all that, like, is he going to tap? Which, I thought there was a chance he might at some point, but he ended up beating him with what Cole called the Bunny Destroyer, which was just a Canadian destroyer. But yeah, this was awesome. Like I said, and let's throw the flowers at Damian Priest, because as good as
he was also great.
As good as Bad Bunny was, like, Priest was the one guiding that match as the wrestler, So, and like I said, his selling was just expert. I loved it. Yeah, give me all the Bad Bunny you got.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I made me want to start listening to him.
Yeah. I actually may give that a shot, because I mean, I know like one of his more recent records was like pretty well reviewed, but yeah, that's definitely something, like that I wouldn't be against. I like what I heard.
Justin says, popped me so much hearing Bunny come out to Chambia and the crowd singing it as well. Absolutely epic. Yeah, they certainly knew it. It basically sounded like the song just kind of repeated the same thing over and over. But again, they were into it. And yeah, he gets me hyped. Let's go. Bad Bunny. Sure. He's the man. Bad Bunny. But then, post-match, obviously had the celebratory moment with, gave him the Puerto Rican flag. They hoisted him on the shoulders. The LWO did. Just great
stuff. And like this was a lot about celebration. Like every post-match was celebratory without like guys coming in at the end, and I think it they would definitely fit in with the crowd and the tone. All that was kind of very aligned, I thought.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so we continue the bloodline drama, and there was plenty of it here, as they, meaning the Usos and your boy Solo Sataki, defeated Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Matt Riddle in 22 minutes 5 seconds. For me, the obvious peak of this match was when Solo, almost busted out the Samoan spike on Jey Uso.
Oh, yeah.
And, he did it and even, held it after they, made eye contact, so it wasn't a mistake.
Yeah, and then what was it, Riddle or someone came in?
Yeah, well, so Jay was like, I'm your actual brother, not him, so, that's been kind of the whole thing. Is they are actual brothers. Do you need to step away here?
No, it's all good.
Okay. But sorry, what did you had said something else?
Oh no, I had said that, who was it, that Riddle or someone like that had hit
him?
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, so Riddle ultimately came in and took the pin, which was no surprise, as Solo slapped him with the Samoan spike. But yeah, I mean, part of me thought he was going to do it to Jay there because, like we talked about last time, when during the tag team championship match, it was Solo's night, as Paul Heyman said. No Paul Heyman or Roman here. It wouldn't have surprised me to see Roman, at this show, but he was not.
But it was still his night, though, and I was pretty happy for that.
Yeah, I mean, as things were going along, I kind of felt like the Bloodline's got to win this, and that's kind of what we had said in the lead up, to continue. I guess if they would have lost and one of the Usos would have taken the pin, that would have basically just thrown them out, for lack of a better term, I feel. But this win, kind of furthers the intrigue. Solo got the win, Yeah,
and it focuses the tension on that versus Usos, you lost again, you losers.
Correct.
It makes it, a little bit more interesting because they now have sort of a bit of a claim, so it'll be interesting to see when that whole crew gets back together to see how the dominoes fall.
Yeah, I think they announced Roman is going to be on SmackDown this week. It's either this week or next. He's coming back. So yeah, whenever he arrives, it is going to be fascinating. I thought this match was good, not great. It got a lot of time, but it was, nothing special, but I thought it was solid. And I think I went 3 3/4 or 4, somewhere in that range on it. But we've definitely seen better out of these guys. But the story was again, not really the match itself, but kind of the antics and what would happen. As Justin says, it is this Friday. Thank you very much. So I presume I don't know what we're going to be doing after this week, but
something.
We'll be doing something. Obviously, Double or Nothing is coming up soon, and I know you haven't been as engaged into AEW. Tonight is going to be a great show. Just not to get too off topic here, but have you heard what is happening tonight? Because maybe we kind of do a little both next week. But here, I'm pulling up the card. The main event is Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley in a steel cage match.
Oh, where did that come from?
Yeah, well, because you haven't been what, but yeah, the BCC Elite has been kind of that, and the Four Pillars have really been kind of carrying the show, and it's been pretty good.
Okay, well, we'll have to jump back in then.
Tony Khan was calling this a pay-per-view level Dynamite. We've also got Orange Cassidy versus Daniel Garcia for the AEW International Championship. We've got Rey Fenix against Claudio for the ROH title in what's called a double Jeopardy match, which I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah.
House of Black versus Bandito and Best Friends for the trios titles. Right. Anna Jay and Julia Hart in like a no-holds-barred match. And then we'll hear from Christian Cage and FTR. But
sounds good.
Yeah, it should be a very good night here on AEW. But we still have one more match to cover here. In which Cody Rhodes gets a little bit of his steam back, defeating Brock Lesnar in 9 minutes, 43 seconds. Although after Raw this week, Brock got all of it back and beat the shit out of him again and cost him a spot in the World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, wow. So he's kind of just going deep down the big underdog.
So, last week I said if this tournament final isn't Seth versus Cody, then what are we doing here? But clearly the Cody and Brock thing is continuing. They're going to have another match at Night of Champions. I forgot to mention that. Not official, but it's happening. Like, it's been agreed to. It's going to be a fight, Brock says. So I'm guessing there'll be some sort of a stipulation here.
Right.
But yeah, and also when they announced that half of the bracket would be from Raw and half from SmackDown, obviously that negated that final anyway, because it's going to be a Raw guy versus SmackDown guy. So you didn't watch, but they had two triple threats on Raw, and then those two winners faced, which was Rollins and Balor. Balor got the dub. It was Balor, Miz, and Cody when Brock lost him. So it ended up with Rollins and Balor in the main event, which was the first Universal Championship match in 2016. And Rollins, no surprise to anyone, getting the win. And then it's AJ Styles, Edge, and Rey Mysterio in one match. And then it's Sheamus, Big Bob, and Theory in the other. So more Theory and Big Bob triple threat.
It's sick.
I'm pulling for Styles and Sheamus to win those matches.
Yeah, no, I would like that because I don't think Theory needs that just yet.
And we've already seen Seth and Theory. They had a long feud, at the end of last year. So Seth Styles is the dream match here, definitely. But I would love to see Sheamus in this as well. But that's Friday on SmackDown. So maybe we'll do a little AEW Dynamite SmackDown for next week.
Oh, that'd be fun.
We'll see if we hear anything from the WWE creative room. But you got anything on this match? I mean, obviously, it was a bit of a fluky win for Cody, kind of getting the roll up in submission.
It was at a strange spot just because after like all that like epicness, like this was just sort of like a bit of punctuation, just kind of at the end of it. I
think Bad Bunny and Damian should have main evented.
Not to like shit on it because it didn't choose to be in the position that it was in, as if the match had a consciousness, but yeah, I thought it was pretty just a pretty decent middle of the road wrestling match. I kind of get where sort of Cody's narrative is going. And I guess if you want to just mire him down there with Brock, you can do that. But watch it be like Seth and Big Bob or something like that for it. It
might.
Yeah.
Tom says, "What up, you sexy beasts? We love you, Tommy." Justin says, "Styles or Edge because you have the story of Edge wanting to win the title he had to give up when he retired." I've said this before. I love Edge. I'm a huge Edge guy, but at this point, I just don't really need to see him in the main events or continually winning matches like him. We talked about it, him beating Balor at WrestleMania, him beating Styles at WrestleMania the year before. Like, let's start putting some people over. But I don't disagree, Justin. That would make a good story, no doubt about it. And Edge and Rollins had an incredible rivalry. What was that, 2 years ago at this point? But, man, I'd just rather see almost anybody else in that spot other than Edge. Rey Mysterio, I don't really care to see, but the other four I would prefer over Edge. But it would make sense. But I'm pulling for Styles.
Man. I do too. I like AJ Styles. I mean, I guess I haven't seen him in a really
he's been hurt for quite a while too. Really? So, like, what better way to get him, thrust back into the spotlight? And I mean, again, I think Seth is absolutely winning this thing, but a big epic match between he and Styles in Saudi, I think, would be amazing. So,
be quite nice.
We shall see. And yeah, the match Cody and Brock was fine. Yeah, it was pretty. Pretty intense, pretty hard hitting, but again, only got
there's that big bloody
cut on Brock. Brock got busted open, and when he came back on Raw, he had the forehead cut, he had the black eye,
the stitches, and all that. Yeah.
When Cody, so it was pretty tight. Cody's whole thing these days in WWE, when he cuts a promo, he starts with, "So what do you guys want to talk about?" And Brock, "What do you want to talk about?" And he's screaming right in his face, like, "Me! Me! He said it like 40 times. I feel like Addie and I were dying watching it the other.
That's too funny.
He was just screaming his head off.
That's too funny.
So yeah, does Cody beat? We talked a little bit about this last week. Like, I feel like Cody still needs to be the one to beat Reigns, and maybe that's where we are headed, even though they're on separate shows. Because
that's going to still be a long time, too.
I know.
So that requires a. I mean, I guess you could maybe make it happen at
SummerSlam. Yeah,
probably. Yeah.
And that's what I want. Even though they're on separate shows, like Cody's whole thing was finish the story against Roman Reigns, not this new belt, which he's not going to win anyway right now. So I would like to think that's where we're headed. Does Cody beat Brock again?
Yeah.
I hope so, but I don't know where that leaves Brock, which I don't really care too much.
I don't really care either. He's a little boring as
late. But he's always booked at the top of the card and strongly. So it wouldn't shock me to see him win, and then maybe they do a rubber match. Right. Maybe there's been rumors swirling of Brock, walking away, finally retiring. Maybe they do like a loser leaves town match or something like that. Yeah. That would certainly add to, the stakes, the drama, the urgency. Justin says Cody and Brock just isn't working, in my opinion. The whole feud feels like it is just to please the Cody needs adversity people and those that were invested fully to have to suffer through it. Yeah, you're not wrong. I kind of am in that camp. Like, I wanted him to win at WrestleMania, but I was actually happy when it was all said and done because of the shock value and because, he had won every match and it had been too easy. But I also don't disagree with you. Like, Cody and Brock, to me, is just kind of stuck in neutral.
Pretty tired. Yeah, I agree.
Even though we haven't seen it, it's not really what I want to see. But again, if it gets him to that next level, I don't know, whatever. But I still do want to see Cody and Reigns, and I think SummerSlam would be a great place because what else is Reigns doing? He's just been on the sidelines since this happened.
Yeah, and who else could he have like a big feud with? Exactly. I feel like that's still there, and Cody's gonna want a rematch.
Yes.
So yeah. So
we shall see. Yeah, Friday should be interesting with those two triple threats, and then also Roman coming back. So, fun stuff. You got anything else here before we wrap it up?
No, sir. Apparently, I-71, according to my mother, is shut down. I got the note. That's what she wanted to tell me. That was what the momentary distractions for. So
that's a good note. That's a good note to get. Like, at least ahead of time.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, there's been construction because they're widening 71 to 3 lanes from the Snyder all the way down to LaGrange.
Oh, really? No,
They
I did
are.
not
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that.
So I think a multi-year thing, but I think this recent construction is because of that. So a little fucking.
And I guess at this point, the back road way from Carrollton to Louisville, right?
Oh yeah. 40. Yeah, classic 42.
Classic 42.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, on that note, we just hit the hour mark. This is one of our shorter episodes.
It is. It is.
But I think we've covered it all here. We'll get you back into AEW this week. It's been solid. It's not been great. It's not been bad by any means. It's still been solid. The Elite BCC intrigue has been high. Hangman still has been away. So, we're still waiting on a big comeback from him. Hell, like I said, Moxley Omega in a cage. That is a fucking pay-per-view match. So maybe Hangman comes back tonight. I'm not sure. Oh, also Moxley. So Okada won the 6-man tag championships in New Japan alongside Tanahashi and Ishii. So after that match, Moxley popped on the video screen and challenged this team at Dominion, which is the second biggest New Japan show of the year. So Moxley will be returning to Japan. He'll be teaming with Red Shoe's son, Shota Umino, he was essentially his mentor, and a mystery partner, which I think could be Wheeler Yuta. So we may be seeing a little BCC over in New Japan. Stuff to look out for.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's call it a day. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting us.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Brainbuster.
At Brainbuster Boys, YouTube.
Try to get Kona in here, but
Twitter, Instagram.
She won't do it. She's being weird. She got in there a little bit.
I saw her. Yeah. Stay tuned for more Vince in the Machine, whatever that means.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Later.
Bye. See you later. Have a good one. Take it easy.
Sorry.